When we look back through history, it's always the big things that we hold on to. Wars, monarchies, expansion, independence. Rarely do we catch a glimpse of everyday life. Small towns get forgotten, generations pass. But what if we dug just a little bit deeper? What if your normal morning commute, or those clothes you put in the wash, are all a part of history, and not that far off from the everyday activities your ancestors went through? What if that washing machine were just a bucket, and that CTA commute by horse or a trolley? What if by just learning about the little things in history, we learn more about ourselves? What if something as simple as a sound show us how little things have changed, or how they'll never be the same? Listen now. What do you hear? Cars passing? Exhaust fumes from a combustion engine? Or the buzz of an overhead plane going by? How much have those sounds changed? Why, not too long ago, all you heard was the steel rail clanking and the whistle of a train heading down the track. Located in western North Carolina is a place that can take us back to the times of steel locomotives and trolley cars. The Craggy Mountain Line is a non-profit organization in Buncombe County, North Carolina, that strives to bring a piece of history back to life, with restoring and running of trains and trolleys for passengers to experience down a 3.45-mile rail known as Craggy Branch. The president of the Craggy Mountain Line Railroad, Rocky Hollifield, has always had a passion for trains. Working as a train engineer for the Great Smoky Mountain Railroad, Rocky knows what it takes to run his own line, and is savvy in the purchasing and restoration of his trains and trolleys. Rocky's determination on the project has come from a simple dream to close to a successful outcome. Along with volunteers who also wish to have the trains restored and up and running again, for the past 10 years, Craggy Mountain Line has persevered through donations and volunteers alone. Once restoration on the tracks, historical railroad buildings, and cars are complete, Rocky hopes to have visitors come and ride the rails on cars such as private party trains, a depot with a train museum, restaurant and shop, and scenic rides down the rails through historic Woodfin. Through grants and hopes of donations, Rocky and the volunteers at the Craggy Mountain Line hope that the railroad will become a major tourist attraction within the town of Woodfin, and bring a part of the railway history back to western North Carolina. The Craggy Mountain Line's passion is to have visitors experience the authenticity of life riding and commuting by train and trolley through the mountains of western North Carolina. Through rescue and preservation of the cars and restoration of the track, Craggy Mountain Line is close to having this dream become a reality. In January of 2008, volunteers began on the diligent work of restoring the track to make it up to date with the Federal Railroad Administration and safe for passengers to ride upon. Since many years have passed since the railroad has carried locomotives, work on the track has proved to be strenuous and lengthy. Over 2,000 new ties were replaced by originals in order to secure the track and make it ready for cars. After 3 phases, the track is close to being ready for visitors to ride the rails in the near future, when preservation on the cars and the track are complete. Also being restored are original cars, one of them being an original Asheville trolley. Though the cars will soon be back in their former glory, many of them were found abandoned and in critical condition. Thankfully, Rocky and the many other volunteers are working hard to bring them back to life. The most unique car for the area from the Craggy Mountain Line is the Brill safety car that ran as a trolley in Asheville. Built in 1927, it's an extra-long single-truck Brill with only 2 wheels. Unique in its make, the trolley was created with double doors as opposed to just one, making it a rarity of its kind. Found abandoned after someone had been living inside the declining car, Craggy Mountain Line purchased the car and is now in the process of restoring it. The astonishing work from before restoration to now is almost unrecognizable, and soon the completed trolley will run and provide spaces for 34 passengers to be able to sense of how it carried its passengers throughout Asheville so many years ago. Another trolley being restored by the Craggy Mountain Line is a 9505 green interurban trolley made by Edwards Motor Car in 1925 in Sanford, North Carolina. With only 151 built, it originally was used for the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad for 13 years before being retired. Though the car body is finished, volunteers will need a grant in order to restore the trolley fully and keep it up with railroad regulations. Perhaps the most efficient car for the railroad is the red and white Lifesaver car that is used to educate people on the safety of being around railroads and trains. Made by Gant manufacturers, the caboose is hard to miss with its striped red on one side and white on the other. Operation Lifesaver operates under the motto of look, listen, and live, to show children as well as adults that being near a railroad is a serious and often dangerous matter. Built in 1970, the Southern Caboose's restoration took 10 days to paint and is close to being ready for visitors to bring school groups, birthday parties, and daily riders up and down the track. The Lifesaver car's sister caboose is also owned and being restored by the Craggy Mountain Line. Built a month apart, the 582 was also built in 1970. The caboose still has much of its original features. Inside, it still includes a wood stove, seats, an icebox, and a toilet that are all original to the caboose. The restoration on the car is about 80% complete. The newly painted and refurbished car will serve as a great place for riders to experience a quintessential caboose. Another car is the red wooden Chesapeake, Ohio caboose. Built in 1925, the table car is almost fully restored. The vintage caboose will be used as a table car for people to enjoy a ride down the track, eating and enjoying the scenery. Making all of this possible, last but not least, is the black engine that will be pulling all of these cars down the track. The 1953 40-ton Plymouth engine will power the cars back and forth to the depot. Though some logistics need to be worked out to run the engine, it is nearly ready to lead the way down the tracks and bring the Craggy Mountain Line Railroad to life. Though many of these cars are close to full restoration, many of them require special parts and antique additions to truly be up to par, which oftentimes becomes expensive for the volunteers at Craggy Mountain Line. They are hoping with the help of grants and donations that the nonprofit organization can bring a piece of history back to life in western North Carolina, where locals and tourists can enjoy the history of the mountains through trains and trolleys. The ultimate goal of the Craggy Mountain Line is to have visitors come and experience the life of the railroad through train and trolley rides, while being able to spend time visiting the depot, having lunch, and learning more about the history of the railroad. Their plan is to establish a depot that will serve as a welcome center for visitors, where they can purchase tickets, have a meal in a trolley car, and look around the depot at railway memorabilia while waiting to take a ride down the rails. Once on a car, visitors will then ride down the tracks, stopping at Riverside Park, where visitors can bring a picnic lunch and enjoy the scenery in western North Carolina. Though Craggy Mountain Line has a ways to go before these plans are complete, they are hoping by the help of donations and grants that this enriching historical site can become a favored attraction for locals and tourists. Craggy Mountain Line is truly a labor of love. 10 years in the making, it has survived off the determination and passion for the railway of Rocky and the many volunteers who wish to see the railroad in use once again. Though it's been a long journey that continues to come closer to a successful end, finishing the restoration on the cars and the building of the depot is really only the beginning. The volunteers of the Craggy Mountain Line have put their hearts and time into this wonderful project, and with hope of donations and grants, the railway will not only be a local amusement attraction for families, but a piece of history brought back to life. Though progress can be a great thing, what if preserving the past is just as good? What if those little things in history don't have to be so foreign to us today? What if we could have the best of both worlds, and have history survive right along with the future? So what sounds do you want to hear? Why not too long from now, you'll be hearing steel rail clanking and the whistle of a train heading down the track.